So we are asked by literally no one what sort of cabinet we want to see in 2024 after the national election. And therefore, in this video, we're going to answer that exact question.
You know, the elections that are like out 1994, but in 2024.
Let's go throughout the cabinet and let's see what do we agree upon. Who do we want to fill those positions? Not generally in terms of what person, but what party. And my first one is for Minister of Education, I want someone from the ACDP and I won't accept anyone else.
So just imagine it. School prayers, caning in school, good Christian morals. So I would also then say that I'd probably want any of the business development, small business development, any of the business development portfolios, the finance portfolios, probably taken over by the DA. Because the DA do get shit done. I don't want them involved in the kids, mate. I really don't want them doing the education. We'll probably end up with all our kids tranced or something.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the DA could stick to like state-owned enterprises and finance. That makes the most sense. If we talk about sort of the Minister of Development and small businesses, it definitely has to be a member of the Freedom Front Plus. These guys are really good economically and they don't hold a hatchet for like new money theories and all that nonsense. They're just straight down the line, reasonable, pragmatic people, and therefore they should run the finance department of the government.
Yeah, I've actually got a recommendation for two other portfolios. I reckon that the Minister of Policing and the Minister of Home Affairs should go to Kenny and Gayton, respectively, of the PA. Gayton can obviously take over the role of Minister of Policing. Jeez, every person committing of a crime will be off to the gulag. And Kenny can obviously get rid of all the foreigners as head of Home Affairs. These two definitely got my vote for those roles.
Yeah, that is what that they are a shoe-in for that position. I completely and utterly agree.
For Deputy President, I have John Steenhuisen. For President, I have the IFP, my friend. I don't really want to see John as president of the country. What about you?
I think either or will do quite well, but I do think the IFP is going to get quite a substantial amount of the vote next year, and therefore I think the IFP do need sort of an outsized role in the incoming cabinet, assuming the numbers line up. And I think that if we have an IFP president, it would be very good. The Freedom Front Plus came out a while ago to say that they don't think a white president will work in South Africa. And believe it or not, this is very unliberal or illiberal, but I think they are correct. I still think race is important to a large part of the electorate, and therefore I think the president needs to be someone who isn't white. It's just the reality of living in this place.
So what role would you assign to Action SA? Tourism, maybe? You know, one of the useless portfolios? What do you reckon?
Minister of Sports.
And who's getting Minister of Electricity?
Well, actually, Minister of Electricity is not someone in a political party, but our good friend Prince Adil Nchabaleng is definitely a shoe-in for that particular role. He's just going to build nuclear reactors all over the place, which is exactly what is required.
I'm not actually sure we'll still have a Ministry of Electricity come the next elections. Maybe we'll have a, I don't know, Minister of Non-Electricity. And for that role, we could probably give it to, Action SA. Herman Mashaba would be great to that role because he'd effectively have no job.
All right. So what about Minister of Defense? You know, the SANDF is in, well, dire straits. There's no money and all the generals weigh 700 kilograms and live on KFC all day. So we need someone very strong for this role. Byron, what's your recommendation?
IFP, mate. IFP. They can all just, we've already said there's ample budget there for spears and shields. It's all you need to guard our borders, mate. IFP all the way, baby.
That's true. And the IFP and the Zulu Nation has their own army anyway, which will probably kill the SANDF for lunch. So perfect fit. All right. What about Minister of Health?
Oof, that's a hard one, eh? Like, I'd probably say the DA. The DA would be pretty good with our health. The only problem is they probably, trans me rather than cure my heart disease. So possibly I might want to rethink about that and give it to the Freedom Front Plus.
Well, I think the DA would also like just put in euthanasia. Like, doctor, I've got, my appendix. He's like, oh, have you considered killing yourself? It's now a state-funded enterprise. We can do that for you.
So, Ramon, who would you have for Minister of Justice?
I would have Jacob Zuma because that man knows courts in and out like there's no one's business. And he's managed to stay out of jail. So he will plug in all the loopholes. It's like, that those hackers that people hire to safeguard their security? That's what Jacob Zuma is to the court system. So I think Jacob Zuma will be a wonderful Minister of Justice.
I disagree entirely. I reckon that a good Minister of Justice would be Julius Malema, because that man has never been able to be convicted by any court for anything. Even when he's caught on camera doing exactly what he's being tried for. He still gets off scot-free. So that man knows the justice system like better than anybody, man.
And therefore, in conclusion, the last minister is the Minister of Water. And I mean, there's only one real candidate here, and that's the DA, right? The DA had day zero. They charged everyone far more for water. And even when day zero ended, people are still paying far more for water in Cape Town than ever before. And they seem happy with it. So, shoe in, right?
Yeah, ultimately, 2024 is on the horizon. And this is the news that apparently the ANC are at 41% and may not actually win the election. But then again, this is the same ANC that went to Zimbabwe to look how free and fair their election was. And I'm pretty sure that while they're there, they probably ate a few steaks, sat around a fire, swap stories on how to rig an election. You know, the usual thing that we do in Africa. So who knows? 2024, baby. It's our 1994.